Good evening and welcome to Press X. My name is Mark, and with me we have Rob.
Hello.
Andy.
Hello.
And a whole host of games that we own.
Yes, we've I've quite literally dragged my entire collection into this tiny, tiny shoebox room, and now it's basically, it's kind of like human Tetris, only there's one human and loads of games.
Just turn around and all this stack just falls on you.
Well,
you're trapped forever.
No, that happened earlier. At the moment, I can currently scratch my nose with my left toe. And I haven't said which toe. I haven't said which left toe either.
Which left toe? Oh, which toe on your left foot?
Yeah.
All right. You confused me there, Rob.
So yeah, this is the gaming podcast, and
yes.
We've got some, interesting discussion, I suppose.
Yeah, but before we get into that, what you guys been playing?
I'm still on the Dragon Quest thing. I haven't really had much of a chance to play much else. I'm pretty much nearing the end of it now. Every time I think that I'm going to be finished it sucks another 10 hours out of us. Apart from that, I've been playing the Kemono Friends puzzle game that they released on the Nintendo Switch because I'm weeb trash and proud of it.
Yeah.
I had a long pause and say, yeah.
Look, I've seen your Facebook and your Twitter and your YouTube channel. There is no denying it.
I'm not even hiding it.
Let's put it this way: if Mark could get weeb trash tattooed on his forehead, in not in permanent ink, just
that would be going a bit too far.
Yeah, just in something that he could, maybe a sticker he could put on his forehead for whenever he goes to a con.
I'm the so opposite of Mark.
This is true.
I had to Google what we meant the first time I heard it.
It's amazing you two are friends. So, Andy, what about you then?
Well, when I can. Lately I've been trying to work my way through Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but on the way, like on the days after work and things like that, I've been spending a lot of time on WWE 2K19.
Oh.
Because
is it any good?
I think it's brilliant, but I like that type of game. It's got a more arcadey feel to it. It's got, for example, a big head mode, and you can make Minecraft look characters kind of thing.
I love the fact that you say it's got a more arcadey feel. It's got a big headboard.
But it's also got a filter, so it can look like you're playing in a comic book kind of thing. Like a cartoony Telltale kind of.
Okay.
It kind of reminds us of the stuff they were doing with wrestling games, like around 1999, year 2000, with all of the weird additions that you would never ever need, but you seem to love anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one's got a season mode where they make it up, like it did 10 years ago. Oh. So I'm really enjoying that one. But yeah, apart from that and Tomb Raider, nothing at the minute.
Okay.
What have you been playing, Rob?
Me, I have been playing Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Oh.
Yeah. It's I've got a video coming out for it on our YouTube channel very soon. I know it's a bit older now. It's a couple of months old now, but I'll tell you something. That game is so Japanese it hurts.
I played the first one. I played Yakuza 0 a few months ago, and that was such a good game. And
Isn't Goro Majima the best?
It is such. He's so funny. I know they've just done a Fist of the North Star one.
Yeah,
which is basically Yakuza with a Fist of the North Star skin on it.
Yeah, I know it's so good, but Goro Majima is just amazing. I mean, Yakuza 2, Yakuza Kiwami 2 is basically Yakuza 2, the remake. And like Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of the original Yakuza game, right? Just like Yakuza Kiwami, everything has been kind of turned up to 11. There's so much more to do. You've got all of Kamurocho and all of kind of Osaka to, the Sotenbori area of Osaka to explore. There's food to eat, drinks to drink, delinquents to beat the crap out of, Yakuza to beat the crap out of, more Yakuza to beat the crap out of, loads and loads of fetch quests. There is karaoke, you can play darts, you can play pool, you can play all sorts of things. There's just there's just so much, and you can even do the usual playing arcade games. There's even a game that you play at the urinal called Toilets, spelled Toylets.
Oh,
Okay.
God. Is the car game in it? The Pocket Circuit one?
No, that's not in this one.
I enjoyed that one so
This
much.
one has Virtua On, which is on normal mode, getting past the third round, because you have this mission later on in the game, much later on in the game. You have a mission where you have to take Haruka, the little girl who you rescue in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take her around, because you haven't really spent that much time with her lately. So you're basically taking her around, seeing the sights, eating loads of food. And one of the challenges is you have to get past the third level of Virtua On, and it took me bloody ages. I mean it was so difficult, because the third level on normal mode on Virtua On was just like, I cannot do this. This is too hard. What do you want from me? I went through every single machine. I got the trophy for using every machine on Virtua On, and I still couldn't beat the third round.
Oh, it's one of those games that way. It's like, I mean, I think I sunk about 20 hours into the Yakuza 0, and I think I got off the first chapter or second chapter or something like that, and it's just like, I was like, oh god, I was still trying to learn Mahjong. I couldn't wrap my head around Mahjong.
Yeah, have you tried because the Mahjong games are pretty easy, because I know how to play. The one that got me was the character games. You know, the ones that have like the picture cards.
Mm-hmm.
Right, those ones I don't know how to play them, so I'm currently trying to figure out how to play those.
I don't think I even played that one.
Mahjong and Shogi, I know the rules, so I got a good idea of the rules, so I can kind of fumble my way through a game.
Mm-hmm.
But character, I am like unless it's an anime series like Chihayafuru, I'm a complete loss. Also, if you're an anime fan and you haven't seen Chihayafuru, then you should watch it. It's great. Anyway, Yakuza Kiwami. It's if you're after something different, right? Because Yakuza Kiwami 2 right now is in my top 5 games of the year.
Oh,
right.
Well,
actually, it's in my top 3 games of the year. It's that good. And also, there are various chapters that open up in Goro Majima's adventure during the timeline of Yakuza Kiwami 2, which you can play as a separate game.
I'll have to pick it up. I'll have to sit down and actually start playing them, maybe once I've got everything else out there.
No, do it, because then you can join the exclusive club that only has me and Rob in it at the moment.
What, the Yakuza Club?
Yes, the Yakuza Club. We've even got like quiffs and delinquent jackets and stuff like that.
So the Yakuza Club is just the Yakuza.
Yeah, you basically will turn you into Yakuza.
But yeah, that's a very Eastern game. So moving from East to West, there's a certain game called has a lot of people excited.
Yes.
What game will that?
Well, it's the sequel. It's the sequel to Red Dead Redemption, which in its own right was the sequel to Red Dead Revolver.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets about that one.
Everyone conveniently forgets that Red Dead Revolver was an actual game, wasn't it?
Mm.
I know. Everyone seems to forget the zombie one as well.
Oh, Undead Nightmare.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, but that was because everybody was adding zombies to everything, and you just like, oh yeah, just add zombies. Turns out great. And next thing you know, TV chefs will be doing it as well. Just add a packet of zombies and you'll be fine for lunch.
You've been watching too much Shaun of the Dead, Rob.
Probably. It is a cracking movie. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. And who's the main character?
I'm not going to lie, I genuinely don't know, because it's like, Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced, I was just like, yeah, and then it was like, it's out next week, I was like, oh, that was quick.
I'll hazard a guess. It's a cowboy.
Isn't it, what's-his-face's son, from the original game?
It's,
John Marston's son.
It's set before the original game.
Is it set before?
Yeah, it's, John Marston's in the game, apparently. Somewhere.
Isn't not his gang before the...
I think it might be his gang.
Yeah.
I think the main villain's in it as well. Like, it's like that main gang from the first one.
Okay, so Red Dead Redemption 2, it's Set in 1899, the era of the Wild West is coming to an end. After a robbery in the town of Blackwater goes wrong, outlaw Arthur Morgan and the Vanderlind gang are forced to flee, with the authorities and the best bounty hunters in the nation massing on their heels. The gang must rob, steal, and fight across miles of American wilderness and civilization to survive. As internal divisions threaten to tear the gang apart, Arthur must choose between his own ideals and his loyalty to the gang. Among the returning characters are John Marston and Dutch Vanderlind, the protagonist and antagonist from the previous game, respectively. So this is kind of a prequel, then, I suppose?
Yeah, it sounds like they kind of did it with, where Grand Theft Auto 3 had this whole world, and then Vice City kind of had characters from that game.
Yeah.
Their own little story, a little bit away from it.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're just kind of doing that, really, isn't it, more than anything else, which is perfectly fine with me.
Well, it's an interesting thing because until Red Dead Redemption, nobody really put any stock in doing a Western game, did they?
It's very rare that you got them. I mean, I know they did release expansion pack with zombies in it, as we mentioned, but they were all supernatural cowboy games, basically, that were before that.
Well, not all of them, but there were more than they had more than a fair share. But what I'm saying is nobody really put any stock in actually just doing a straight up Western game. Everybody thought it couldn't work,
Exactly.
because it's a Western. But if you notice, right, and I'll be honest, I kind of blame Ocarina of Time for this, right?
Oh.
Yeah, I know it's a curveball bringing up Ocarina of Time.
What, is the main character just going to take out a musical instrument and start playing songs?
No. Because Ocarina of Time was the first time that you had a proper mount, a proper horse that you could ride, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, at least it was one of the more prominent ones, wasn't it?
Well, when I say a proper horse, I mean one that you could actually control and ride as if it was a proper mount, as if it was kind of a proper horse in reality. You could steer it, you could guide it going here and there and everywhere, and you can summon it. And that was the first time in a video game, or a prominent video game, where you actually had that capability. And that opened the door to that should have opened the door then to a lot of things, especially Old West games, where horses were the thing, but it didn't, did it?
No, I mean, there's a whole era. I mean, like you said, there's stuff here and there, but there wasn't really anything big until Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. And, I mean, we had games like Call of Juarez, and we had Gun, was it?
Yeah, that was in a mix. I look at it as the test the water for Western games, because that was in the middle of an open world game, but it was also very linear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, a lot of what we had, I mean, if you look at 90s gaming, a lot of it was it was either point and click adventures, it was either JRPGs like Wild Arms, or it was Lucky Luke stuff.
Oh, I remember Lucky Luke.
And then you went into the noughties where you had, you had Red Dead Revolver, you had Dark Watch, you had Gun, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, again, but it was kind of first-person shooters, throwing the odd God hand here and there, but that was basically it. Again, all of it was just kind of much of a muchness, and then Red Dead Redemption came along, third-person action-adventure set in the Old West. You had all the trappings of the Old West, you had the atmosphere of the Old West, and then it just exploded from there, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it was what you could do in Red Dead Redemption as well. I remember when it came out when I was at college, and everybody was going, have you seen this game? You can tie people to the tracks even, and then it's an achievement where they get run over by the train. And in a way, I was a bit disappointed because, in Western movies where they're given about a half an hour to save them because the train moves that slow.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in Red Dead Redemption. It's just a normal train. It just goes straight over them.
That's the one thing I remember with Red Dead Redemption. Was like, you couldn't just really steal a train.
No, you couldn't. I'm hoping in this new game you can. But just to give you an idea, right, just in 2010, which is when Red Dead Redemption came out, this was kind of the landscape of video games in 2010, or mainstream video games. So you had Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Battlefield Bad Company, Mass Effect 2, Call of Duty Black Ops, Bioshock 2, Fallout New Vegas, which has a westernish atmosphere, I suppose. Heavy Rain, Dante's Inferno, Alan Wake, StarCraft 2, Darksiders, Splinter Cell, Mafia 2, Civilization 5, Amnesia The Dark Descent, Fable 3, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, what else? Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, Super Mario Galaxy, Aliens vs. Predator, Death Spank, which I thought was a great name for a game. Unfortunately, the game itself wasn't that good. Halo Reach, Just Cause 2, which again, weirdly enough, has a kind of Old West vibe to it, I suppose. Metro 2033, Army of Two, Medal of Honor, Deadly Premonition, Spider-Man, Shattered Dimensions, Vanquish, Metroid Other M, which I hated.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
That was kind of the landscape of video games during 2010. And of all of those, I've got to say Red Dead Redemption was probably the best of the bunch, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
See, for some reason, I didn't click with Red Dead Redemption the first time, as soon as it came out. Yeah. I remember buying it, paying 45 quid or whatever it was, taking it home, and then just being like, after an hour, I was like, I'm bored. The world was that big. A lot of it just felt big and empty, which for a Wild West game makes sense. So I took it back, and I was just like, I ended up selling it and buying something else. But then once I got into it about a year or two later, I was like, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
I think it was just like I said, I played it for a day, and then I was just like, you know what? There's not a huge amount to this. And then I went back once they released all the DLC, and I was like, yeah, there's a full game here now. And I think that's the only thing that put us off.
Huh. Yeah. Do you know the interesting thing, though? When did Oblivion come out?
Oh, I think that was 2006.
Was that 2006?
Yeah.
Because you had Xbox launch, wasn't it?
Yeah. You had the horse with the horse armor for that, didn't you?
Yes, we were talking about that on the last show.
Yeah. And look at how much 4 years difference made to the whole idea of a horse in a game. It went from Oblivion, where it was just kind of this throwaway thing that it was convenient, but it wasn't really anything that you thought about, to a game where if you didn't have one, you're going to be walking a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no fast transport or anything like that. You're going to be walking a hell of a lot across deserts. And it was just this bizarre situation. Nobody thought, and I'm going to come back to that point again and again. Nobody thought a game set in the Old West with all the atmosphere and trappings of the Old West and no magic whatsoever. Nobody thought that could work, because Red Dead Revolver wasn't really a big hit. Gun wasn't a big hit, was it?
Exactly.
None of these games were a big hit. What else? Other games, you had Call of Juarez. We've mentioned Smoking Guns. You had Red Steel, which is, I suppose, Old Westish. The Gunstringer, Six Guns, and various others like that.
You know which game stands out for me? With a Wild West theme to it, in a way.
What?
Spyro 2 and 3.
Actually, that's a good point.
Because it had the worlds, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where it set it with a Wild West theme. Can't remember exactly what they were called or too much what was in them, but I just remember it got that feeling right.
Well, I mean, the one that got the feeling right for me in terms of being an Old West-ish game was Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. Because and to a degree, Oddworld as well, because I think it was the second Oddworld game, and Stranger's Wrath, I think, kind of captured the atmosphere of the Old West. Stranger's Wrath more so, obviously. But I think the other one that really kind of captured the Old West, but wasn't set in the Old West at all, no way was it set in the Old West, but it really captured the atmosphere, Borderlands.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, I do agree. The other one that I've been looking at is not set in the West at all, but did feel very westernized with Old West themes, was Twilight Princess.
Ooh, that's a good call. That is a very good call. Because most people wouldn't think a Zelda game would have that Western vibe, the vibe of the Old West, of a frontier. I suppose.
Exactly.
Because I think that's what the Old West was. It was the frontier. It was the edge of civilization more than anything else, where opportunity and desperation kind of went hand in hand, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that anything that's kind of like that, I feel has that essence of the Old West in it. So even if it's a post-apocalyptic game or something set in the post-apocalypse, like the original 2 Fallout games had an Old West vibe to them, even though they were set in the future. Even Fallout 3 had a kind of Old West vibe to it. The games like that, I thought were very, very good for capturing that atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. And there's still not a huge amount of Old West type games.
The weird thing is, see, you're right about that, because I've got a list of games that have like an Old Western theme or atmosphere or setting, right? And since the advent of Red Dead Redemption, we've seen this massive drop-off of games set in the Old West.
Exactly.
I mean,
one of the ones I was expecting, which I'm honestly surprised they still haven't done, was an Old West Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Well, they did, didn't they? They did.
Well, they kind of did, didn't they? I think they did it before the Old West or whatever.
Well, it was kind of during the time of the Old West, because everyone thinks the Old West was just basically, a short amount of time. It wasn't. It was quite a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it covered the period of the American Civil War. That actually falls into the time period of the Old West. So that one that they did, the Assassin's Creed game that they did that was set during the American Civil War, that one is actually set in the Old West.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, yeah.
What else? I'm just trying to think of other games. I'm excited for Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, that was it. That was the point I was going to make. The horses. Going back to the horses for a second, and the reason why I blame Ocarina of Time. Because Ocarina of Time went on to give us, the horse in Oblivion with the horse armor, but that then went on to give us Red Dead Redemption, which was great with its horses and its equipment and everything. But that then went on to give us Metal Gear Solid 5.
Ah.
I thought you were going to say either The Witcher or Breath of the Wild there.
No, because Breath of the Wild and The Witcher actually did it right. That's why I'm not including them.
The thing is, though, Breath of the Wild basically gave you a horse. Did anybody use the horse? I mean, 9 times out of 10, you'll whistle for it and it's too far out of the way, so you end up walking anyway.
And
I used it quite a bit, but yeah.
Have you noticed I also haven't mentioned Shadow of the Colossus either?
Yeah.
Because literally in that game, there are only 4 things. The Colossi, your horse, you, and the body of your girlfriend. That's it.
Emptiness.
So, but the horse was really well done in Shadow of the Colossus. The thing is, games where the horse is really well done, I'm not including. It's just there are games where they've done the horse really well. It's just the rest of the game just doesn't quite fit around the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mm. Yeah, but once you upgrade the tanks, that's...
See, that's my point.
Let's put a tank on the back of the horse for the next one.
Exactly. There's a bit of a gap between horse and tank.
No, if you're playing Battlefield, wasn't it that the one where horses were more powerful than tanks?
Oh, God, yes. You're on about Battlefield 1, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, I forgot about that. And again, we come back to the whole idea of not really doing horses properly in games.
Yeah, it's one of those things, but I feel like after The Witcher, they're trying a little bit more now.
Yeah, we kind of peaked with The Witcher, didn't we?
Yeah. Even then, The Witcher, that was one of the things I hated about Witcher 3 was the horse. The horse was just so annoying.
Did you ever play Dragon Age Inquisition?
I played the third one, yeah.
Do you remember the horse in Dragon Age Inquisition?
I actually don't.
Okay, the horse in Dragon Age Inquisition was alright, I suppose. It was a horse, it got you from A to B. That was alright. You had various breeds of horse you could get, and you can even get some like lizard-type horse-type creatures as well. The problem was, depending on what console you had, right, the game glitched in certain different ways. And so I went through a phase, literally from going from one place to another, where I was sitting. I basically looked as though I was sitting on the back of the horse, but I was actually under the horse, and the horse had its stomach balanced on top of my head and was galloping.
It's a unique way to ride a horse.
Exactly. There's another one where I was basically moonwalking sideways everywhere.
It's a very talented horse.
No, that was my character. He basically jumped, got stuck in a pose, and started moonwalking everywhere.
Oh, God. Another one that I've just noticed in the collection, it's not hugely Western themed, but it is actually very integral to the story, and that is Railroad Tycoon 2.
Oh, yes.
Because, of course, that was one of the earliest scenarios, is that you try to build a railroad in the Old West.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true.
You never really think of Tycoon games, do you, when you think of that?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's true, though. Railroad Tycoon. It was very, very... I love that game, I'll be honest.
It's always fun. Civilization, stuff like that. It's like, well, it's an important part of the thing. It's like you always get to the Wild West era.
Yeah.
Yes, but then somebody progress in a... Like, for example, if you take the name that you've just said there, Civilization, that series, you could be just slowly going through the civilizations. You could be just researching bow and arrows and into the old Western era, and then somebody just drops a nuke on you.
Yeah.
Usually Gandhi.
Yeah, they kept that in though in the new one because it was a bug, and they kept it in as a joke.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was brilliant.
I mean, there are other games. You got like Doom, I suppose, technically is an Old West game. In certain ways. And if I remember right, the Mountain Blade had a what was it? I can't remember whether it was a mod or it was an actual expansion to the game where they basically took away the medieval setting and set it in the Old West instead.
Mm-hmm. The one I really like is SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2, which is basically the Gold Rush only with robot steampunk cowboys, and it's very, very fun.
I remember SteamWorld Dig. I never played number 2.
I think it only came out. It might have been the beginning of the year, last year.
I've got to say, one of my favorite Western games, or one of my favorite gunslinging games, is still God Hand.
Yeah,
it's a stupid game. It is annoying to play. It's just when you can pull off the super moves, like spank them to the moon or something like that, it just becomes this amazingly fun game. It's rubbish. Don't get me wrong. It literally is just a pants game, but it's fun.
It's so bad it's good. It's one of those type of ones. The one that there's 2 games that I remember years ago was Sunset Riders, which was for the Super Nintendo. And that was like a run and gun type Wild West game.
I remember that. What was that game where you basically had like it was kind of, you had the sights on it, and you basically you could use like a gun controller and you could shoot, and it was set in the Old West. And you had to shoot people behind barrels and stuff like that.
Oh, we just said it early on. Wild Gunman.
Wild Gunman, that was it. Yeah, wasn't there was another one? There was kind of a few that were kind of alternate takes on that format, weren't they?
Yeah, there was a few for the original Nintendo. I can't remember. There was Wild Gunman. I can't remember what the other ones were called though. But it was very similar kind of things, wasn't it? Where it was just a kind of shooting Wild West game and stuff like that. I mean, the other major one I would say is probably the Oregon Trail.
I was going to say, we haven't mentioned that yet, have we?
We kind of went with the interactive educational one at the beginning, then I was just like, we've got to mention it at some point. Because we all died of dysentery at some point in our gaming careers.
Never mind the gaming career, I almost died of dysentery when last time I went to Bangladesh. Wasn't there like a sequel to Oregon Trail or something like that?
There's a few.
There was a sequel. I'm pretty sure there was it wasn't like an actual sequel or something like that. Because if I remember right, the Oregon Trail was what year was it? It was like 1971. 1971 it was.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it's ancient, but I think there was like much later. It was like 20 years or so later. they came out with a kind of unofficial sequel type thing called the Yukon Trail.
But I would say there was the Oregon Trail 2, which they released in like mid-90s when CD-ROMs started becoming like a major thing. And I remember that having, like, you know, can you remember when they had like Civilization 2 where it had the really weird live-action hammy acting and stuff like that?
Yeah.
They did that for Oregon Trail and it was all really, really confusing and weird. But there was a lot of inspired games and stuff like that, like the Oregon Trail, which was just a zombie version of it.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, zombies.
Okay. Let's round this off with 3 questions then. And number 1, are you looking forward to Red Dead Redemption 2?
Definitely.
I'm kind of, at the moment, I can say I can take it or leave it. I'll buy it when it's cheap, but I'm not going to rush out and buy it.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Mark.
Well, it's my Christmas game, so I've got a month to read reviews and that before I get it.
Okay.
I've heard it's not the story that I'm looking forward to and things. It's what you can do in the game. I've seen a few of reviews from people that have played, you know, the early, like the beta version type of thing of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they've said along the lines of people will remember what you do. So you might have a wanted level. But for example, if you kill someone in a major city and that someone happens to be related to one of the characters in the city, you'll find like hitman, like bounty hunters and that coming after you and things like that. So I think if it's as unpredictable as it sounds, it'll be a really good game.
I just hope that the side stuff is as in-depth as the original one was, because wasn't there a trophy for punching a bear?
I think that was, yeah.
Then you realise you punched the bear and it's the wrong bear.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of in the same boat as Mark, as I said. Okay, so second question, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What are your top 2 or 3 favourite games that have either the Old West vibe or atmosphere, or are set in the Old West?
Ooh.
I do have a soft spot for Wild Arms.
Okay, which one? Which one? There are 5 of them.
The first one. I've only played the first and the third one.
Second one doesn't matter.
I don't even know if we ever got it.
The second one?
Yeah.
I've got it.
I say I can remember if they actually released it over here or not.
See, now you're asking. Yeah, they did, if I remember rightly. Well, no, no, they didn't release it in Europe. They released it in North America because I've got an import of it.
Mm-hmm. I would say that one. I love Fallout New Vegas. That's easily my favourite Fallout. And again, Twilight Princess, if we count it. If not, SteamWorld Dig, just for it being so different.
Yeah.
Over to you guys.
Well, for me, I think you stole one from me. I'd have said Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
Or Fallout 3, because they're both similar, because they have that theme. I'd said Spyro, just because it's got a lot of memories of those Wild West levels.
Yeah.
But one which we haven't actually mentioned, I don't know if it seemed like it had a Wild West vibe.
Yeah.
That was Destroy All Humans.
Ah.
Yeah.
I know that's aliens.
Yeah, I don't know. I can kind of see what you're getting at with the Old Westish vibe. It is a frontier, kind of, isn't it?
Yeah, and your first mission is to invade a ranch and steal a cow.
Yeah, this is true.
Or a sheep, so.
This is true.
But yeah, I think that's my 3.
For me, I'm going to have to go with my first choice would be Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, because that's just the Old West.
Mm-hmm.
For the second one, I see. I know everyone is really stoked about Fallout 76, right? And everybody was really stoked about Fallout 4. Before that, everyone was stoked about Fallout New Vegas. And before that, everybody was stoked about Fallout 3. And before that, nobody was stoked about Fallout Brotherhood of Steel or Fallout Tactics. Nobody was stoked about that unless you'd actually played the original 2 games. And so this is kind of a combination thing. I'm going to go with Wastelands 1 and 2 and Fallout 1 and 2 as a kind of combination package of isometric top-down action RPG strategy type games they have that Old West vibe. They do capture the essence of that frontierness.
Yeah.
While being set in a post-apocalyptic world. And, I have to say, those games are amazing. But the thing is, if you play Wastelands 1 and 2, then you're kind of playing Fallout 1 and 2 as well. Okay, storyline is different, but everything else is kind of the same. So they're all just kind of one entry for me. And, let's see, what else? I think for my final choice, I would have to go with. Where is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the name of it. See, it's a toss up between Mad Max and between Mad Max and what was that one? The one where you're basically like a puppet type, the Gunstringer. That's it.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm going to go with the Gunstringer because it's more pure Old West, whereas Mad Max, again, it's that frontierness. And they replace the horses with cars. But the thing is, if you put horses into the Mad Max game, it's basically a Western, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
And
they'll be more reliable as well than the cars, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no difference between Mad Max and Red Dead Redemption, except for the fact that one is set in the post-apocalypse and has cars, the other one is set in the Old West and has horses. That's it. Right? All you need to do is have missions in Mad Max where you can tie someone to the tracks and wait for the train to come and run them over. You know? You'll be waiting for a while because it's post-apocalypse. There hasn't been trains for like 100 years.
There's always a train running somewhere.
The person you tie to the tracks is they're going to die of exposure, starvation, or old age before a train arrives.
It'll be a tram now, and you're like, you'll get the slowness back. That's all I want out of this new Red Dead Redemption game. A very slow train.
Oh, the kind of trains where you can walk faster.
And also a horse that doesn't decide to get on the track because the amount of horses are killed on Red Dead Redemption.
Oh God, yeah.
Yes.
Is it my 7th horse that's got run over by the train?
Oh, I shouted out. I honestly shouted out so many horses during that first game. It's like, what are you doing, you stupid horse? Why are you on the track? No! Damn it, I have to walk back. So the Gunstringer I've got to choose because it's a lot of fun. And, it's just a stupid game. That's a lot of fun. That's it. They can't really say anything more than that. Have you guys played it?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
It's a strip. It's not really anything, complicated, I suppose. It's a Kinect title, but it was on the PlayStation as well. And it's set in the Old West, and you basically, the game's basically played out and you act it out as if it was a theatre stage. Mm-hmm. Which is one of the reasons I liked it.
Oh.
Yeah. So, it's worth a look if you've never tried it before. It is worth a look.
I'll have to look into it.
So, yeah, those are some of our choices for games set in the Old West or with an Old West vibe or atmosphere. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. If you are interested in anything else that we do on the Geek Show Podcast Network, you'll find all of our stuff on our website, including our Patreon and our shop. If you want to show your support, you can go to one of those areas of our website and support us through either buying some merchandise or using Patreon. That's it from us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks with more discussions about video games. Until then, I have been Rob.
I've been Andy.
And I've been Mark.
And we'll see you all later.
Bye!